What's going on, guys? So the Jaguars tomorrow are going to travel to Arrowhead to face the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs are going into this one 6-2, and the Jaguars are going into this one at 3-6. And, right now the Jaguars season is, it's hard to know what to make of it. I know me and a lot of other people want to sit here and, envision how do we get in the playoffs? How can we win the division? And at this point right now, it's hard to imagine playoffs. If the Jaguars were to hypothetically make the playoffs, the route to go in there is that the Jaguars are currently 2.5 games back behind the Tennessee Titans. So the Jaguars need to essentially sweep the Titans, and then they need to go 4-2 in games outside of that. And, right now we're in a hard part of the schedule where the Jaguars have the Chiefs in Arrowhead, the Baltimore Ravens, who are just a good organization, always a tough team. And yeah, the Jaguars right now with that 5-game losing streak that they had earlier on, it really set them back when it comes to really just hopes for this season. But the Jaguars right now, this is a moment that they can really put an exclamation point on the season and just on the team and get some real swagger in here. I mean, first of all, the coaching matchup. This is Andy Reid versus Doug Peterson. These guys have a long history together. Doug Peterson was a player under Andy Reid over in Philadelphia. And then he was even the offensive coordinator under Andy Reid over in Kansas City. And then now they are both head coaches, two great guys that are, real offensive masterminds, guys that really players respect, and just two head coaches that you want your team to have. So this is one of those like disciple games where hopefully, Doug Peterson can, come out on top of this one. And so far, this is the toughest quarterback matchup so far. We played against good quarterbacks. We have not played against elite quarterbacks. And in my opinion, Patrick Mahomes is the greatest quarterback in the NFL. We can have this debate, but if I were to pick one quarterback in the NFL for my team to have, I'd pick Patrick Mahomes over Josh Allen, over Joe Burrow, over all these guys. And look, there's an argument to be had. That's just my personal opinion. I think Patrick Mahomes is the best out of all of them. And, Patrick Mahomes he's just a really good quarterback. He wins games, and this is one of those games where, man, it really feels like if we need to make sure Patrick Mahomes does not have the ball last, because if the Jaguars were to be in a situation where, they get a lead on maybe a 3 or 4 point lead over the Chiefs with like 2.5 minutes left, and if the Chiefs have like 2 timeouts, you get a feeling that the Chiefs are going to be able to drive down and probably score a touchdown on us and win this. So this is one of those games where, the Jaguars need to close it out in that matter. It's a big game for Trevor Lawrence. Great game last week. Really just one of the better games of his career. It wasn't the flashy like 38-10 thrashing of the Chargers. It was more of just, we were put in a lot of bad situations. I mean, down 17-0. There were multiple times where Trevor Lawrence made really, really tough throws when needed to, whether it was 3rd down or whether there was like pressure in his face. He made the throws, and it led to us winning the game. And he was calm, composed. He just looked like a true leader of the team. And I know the mic'd out came up, and, it encouraged a lot of people. I knew Trevor Lawrence had that in him. I think people see Trevor Lawrence in press conferences and think that's exactly how he is on the field, but that's not how guys are, man. Guys are completely different personalities when they're in front of the media versus what they are on the field when they're in war mode. So, Trevor Lawrence, I'm hoping that this could really put an exclamation point on his career. If he can go in there into Arrowhead and get a victory, that would be really, really good for his development. Because I know at this point, look, the playoffs aren't dead. Playoffs aren't dead, but we can all admit it's a long shot. Right now, I think the thing that would make us feel, outside of going to the playoffs, the thing that would make the Jaguars feel best going into really the offseason is, how does Trevor Lawrence finish? If he can come out here and, you know, even if he just goes like 4-4 the rest of the way through and puts together some good performances, you know, and I think with Trevor Lawrence, it's not necessarily putting up the great performances. It's more so just mitigating the bad performances, because we all know, like, he's had some bad games, you know, games where he throws stupid interceptions in the red zone, or, you know, just inaccuracies, just a lot of stuff. And, you know, I know a lot of people complain about the deep ball. I don't know if the deep ball is happening this year, just because we don't have the offensive personnel to be able to complete it. And of course, it's nice knowing that, you know, when we sit here and think about next year, we can sit here and think about Calvin Ridley. I mean, that's the first time we've really had a player during the season that we know, okay, we have this addition coming next year before free agency or the draft even happens. So it's good to know that we have a guy that's going to get open. Yeah, so this is a big one really with Trevor Lawrence, is being able to finish the year off strong and go in here in Arrowhead. And look, the Jaguars are 9.5-point underdogs. You know, the Vegas does not believe in this team, and rightfully so. I mean, look, we're 3-6. We're not a great team. We won one away game in the last like 3 years. Arrowhead's a tough place to play. I've actually been to a Jaguars game in Arrowhead, the game in 2018 where Bortles threw like 5 interceptions. Let's hope it's better than that. But man, it's loud in there, and I think this is a great game. I'm glad this one is an Arrowhead, not strictly for like a win for the Jaguars, or like, you know, because if I really want to go in here and really win this thing, I would clearly rather have it be in Jacksonville. But, you know, put Trevor Lawrence in tough situations early in his career. You know, a lot of people say, okay, we need to simplify the playbook for Trevor Lawrence. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Keep the playbook wide open, because at the end of the day, this year is not about playoffs. This year is not about going to the Super Bowl. It's about the development of Trevor Lawrence, and he needs to be exposed to the whole entire playbook. So going into next year, and even this offseason, he knows what he needs to prepare for. We're going to have the same, like, thank God, for the first time, we'll have the same, you know, offensive coordinator, head coach, you know, same playbook. So, you know, he doesn't have to go and, you know, once like OTA start up, he gets given a new book and he has to run a brand new offense. So yeah, keep the playbook open for him, and it's going to be good stuff. Now, overall, the Chiefs defense is really the weak point of their team. You know, they allow a lot of yards to running backs. So this should be another game where the Jaguars lean super heavily on ETN. I've been extremely pleased of ETN, man. He's been, in like, what, 3 or 4 starts, he's like 5th in the NFL in rushing. I mean, this guy is an elite running back. There's not many running backs at this point in their career. We can argue, look, like right now, Derrick Henry, yeah, he might be a better running back than Travis Etienne. However, when it comes to the points, the age, the wear and tear, there's not many running backs I take over Travis Etienne. Travis Etienne is fresh. He's got a great combination of being really fast, and also he has a lot of balance. He gets yards after contact. He's a freaking football player, man, and I'm so glad the Jaguars have him, because he's a really good element to the offense. And we've seen over the last few games, you know, Doug Peterson has been learning how to utilize him more, because I don't think Doug Peterson has ever had a running back like Travis Etienne. I mean, when you go back to, you know, his days with the Philadelphia Eagles, you know, he had, like, what did he have over there? Like, LeGarrette Blount and who was the guy that he played for the Chargers? He's a small little guy. I know you guys are all going to roast me down below. Man, what is it? Darren Sproles. You know, just guys like that, but I don't think he's truly had a complete back that can do everything. He still has some work to do, especially when it comes to, like, pass protection. He's been better about holding on to the ball and not being careless with it. So, you know, luckily we're seeing kind of more out of him. But yeah, Travis Etienne, this should be another game where they lean on him heavily. And, you know, we're seeing, not only are we seeing our players mature, but we're also seeing our head coach mature and really get adjusted to this offense. Because if you look at it, this offense isn't, personnel-wise, it's a lot different from his offense that he had over with the Philadelphia Eagles, you know. When it comes to the Jaguars, don't really have a great tight end. He had Zach Ertz over there, who was their main receiver. The Jaguars have a really good running back with Travis Etienne. They had really a committee approach over there, and their running backs were more like they utilize them more in the pass game. And Travis Etienne really isn't being utilized much in the pass game. You know, they're really between the tackles, maybe doing running back stretches with him. And that's kind of how they're utilizing it. And then the offensive line strengths are much different. So yeah, there's a lot of different stuff going on. So we've seen, I guess, the offense do a little bit better with him. So I want to see that continue to progress. Look, this is the last game before the bye week. So Jaguars can go out here and, you know, and put together a good game. Then we can feel good about the Jaguars for a couple of weeks after, you know, the Jaguars can go on a 2-game winning streak. And really, this would be a big defining win, you know, get some confidence. And, you know, and the Kansas City team, this team can be beat. Look, the Colts somehow found a way to beat them. And I'll tell you this, I did not watch any of the game last week. Any of the game, the Titans-Chiefs game. I didn't watch any of it last week. I didn't turn it on until overtime. I turned it on at the coin toss in overtime. And they're sitting here saying that Malik Willis did not complete a single pass to a wide receiver. So I'm sitting here like, how is this game in overtime then? You know, so yeah, this needs to be a game where, look, the Chiefs can be beat. They're not unstoppable. And this is also the NFL, so any given Sunday. I know there are people saying, oh, the Jags have no chance. The Jags have a chance in every game. I mean, and we talk about this a lot. Look, the Jaguars, it's been good because none of our losses have been like blowouts like last few years. They're very much fighting. It was really encouraging seeing the Jags come back 17-0 last week. But it's going to be a tough game. Look, Mahomes, best in the game, best quarterback in the game. They have to find a way to, you know, this is going to be a big offensive game because we know Patrick Mahomes, you can't shut down Patrick Mahomes. So it has to be a game where the offense outshoots Patrick Mahomes. The defense is going to have to have its clutch moments, you know, get some early third down stops. That's the key. You know, we can, and that's really a big key is, you know, don't let Patrick Mahomes control the time of possession where it gets the offense out of sync. Look, he's going to have his plays, but we need multiple early third down stops. And we need the offense to be able to bleed the clock. And ultimately what we need to do, we need to be the last team with the ball in our hands. And I'm not talking about behind. I'm talking about, look, if the Jaguars can somehow get the ball with like 4 or 5 minutes left with a lead, we need to bleed that clock all the way to 0. You know, that needs to happen. So, you know, we'll see. And it should be fun. And I will be live streaming this one. There's some people that think I stopped because the Jags have been bad. No, a couple weeks ago I didn't stream it because I partied too hard the night before and it was 9:30 a.m. game. And I was like, okay, this ain't going to happen because there's a lot of setup that goes into it when it comes to completely changing my room around. And last week I was at the game. So we'll be back tomorrow. Should be a freaking blast. I'm really excited for it. Hopefully the Jags go out there with a W and we'll see what happens. But with all that said, thanks guys for watching. Drop your likes on the way out. Go Jags.